note sheet, you have to let me know. Okay, polynomials. The way we're going to add these, and I think the easiest way to do it is horizontally, but I am going to show you both ways. All right. Horizontally, you guys have been doing this probably for many, many years, because that's the way we taught you. If there was a plus sign between our two polynomials, then you could just go ahead and drop the parentheses. 9x cubed minus 2x plus 1 plus 5x squared plus 12x minus 4. And then at this point, you were able to combine like terms. So we have 9x cubed. Are there any other x cubes? No, so we don't have anything to combine that with. X squared. Well, I only have this x squared. I have plus 5x squared. And please put it in standard form, from highest exponent to lowest exponent for the variable. All right, next term, x to the first. Well, I have a 12 plus 12x and a minus 2x gives me a positive 10x. And then my constant terms. Positive 1 and negative 4 gives me a negative 3. So here's my answer. Adding two polynomials horizontally. Now, back in grade school, I taught you, like, if you were going to add 16 plus 7, they had you do it vertically because it was easier. Now, it actually is easier doing it vertically for polynomials, but it's easy to make mistakes because if you don't have a variable term, like this one, this second polynomial here does not have an x to the first term, it's very easy to misalign these. So be careful if you're going to do this vertically. I will probably always do it horizontally. All right, so I got negative 7 plus positive 8 gives me positive 1. Negative 1x plus 0 is negative 1x. 2x squared plus negative 10x squared is negative 8x squared. And then 3x cubed plus 1x cubed is positive 4x cubed. So that's how you do it horizontally. Like I said, we're all used to doing it this way. I'm probably going to do them all this way myself. Subtracting. Now, if you have a minus sign in front of parentheses, you always have to distribute that minus sign. It's actually a negative 1 times that quantity. So here, I have 2x squared plus 3x. Negative 1 times 3x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative 1 times positive 1x is negative 1x, or negative x, either way. Negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. Then you go back and you just combine the like terms. Let's see, we have 2x squared, negative 3x squared is negative 1x squared. Three x and a negative 1x is a positive 2x. And then our constant, positive 4. Vertically, again, you don't forget to distribute that minus sign to each one of the terms. So I have positive 9 minus 1 is a positive 8. Negative 2x minus a minus negative, minus a minus 1x is, you change that to a positive, so I have negative 1x. Negative 3x squared minus 6x squared is minus 3x squared. And then 8x cubed minus 2x cubed is 6x cubed. And there's my answer. Okay, multiplying. Yikes. Multiplying using vertical is actually very difficult. Let's do the horizontal one again because we're kind of used to that. It's distribution. So the first thing I'm going to do, multiply my x to each one of the terms. So x times 3x squared, 3x cubed, x times negative 2x, negative 2x squared, x times negative 4, negative 4x. Then I have to take our minus 3, distribute that to each one of the terms. I have negative 3 times 3x squared, negative 9x squared. Negative 3 times negative 2x squared is a positive 6x. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. Now, if you guys have any questions when I'm doing this, unmute your mic and ask while I'm doing it. Okay. It's going to be the best way to understand some of this stuff. All right, standard form in combining like terms. I have a 3x cubed. Let's see, x squared. I have a minus x squared, 2x squared, and minus 9x squared. Gives me a minus 11x squared. And 4x, negative 4x, and a positive 6x is a positive 2x. And then my constant term is positive 12. So there's my answer. So that's horizontal multiplying. I'm not even going to try to do this vertically. I'm going to show you a different way, because I think this might be easier. And this seems to be the way that most students like to do it. I'm going to set up a box here where I need two. For this one, I'm going to use, one's going to be columns and one's going to be rows. Now, it doesn't matter which one's which, okay? I'm going to do 2 rows because that's a binomial. I'm going to need 3 columns because that's a trinomial. It's got 3 terms. On top here, I'm going to put my trinomial, negative x squared, positive 2x, and a positive 4. And then on my 2 rows, I'm going to put my binomial, x, and then I have that minus 3. Now, all I'm going to do is multiply these top and bottom, and then combine like terms. So inside my box, I've got x times negative x squared is a negative x cubed. Remember, I'm multiplying, so I'm going to add the exponents. X times positive 2x is a positive 2x squared. X times 4 is positive 4x. Negative 3 times negative 3x squared, positive 3x squared. Negative 3 times positive 2x, so negative 6x. Negative 3 times positive 4 is a negative 12. Now I'm going to have some like terms, and they're always going to be diagonals here in my big box. Here's my x squareds. Here's my x to the first. So my answer, I've got that negative x cubed, 3x squared plus 2x squared. I'm adding now, so I'm not going to add exponents, but I am going to add numbers. 5x squared, negative 6x plus 4x, it's a negative 2x, and I've got my negative 12. Now, either method works. I think this box method is a little easier than doing the distribution. It's completely up to you which one you want to use. Now, this one gets a little difficult because we have 3 binomials being multiplied together. So what we have to do here is we're going to take our first binomial, multiply it by the second one. That's going to give us a trinomial, remember FOIL, and that's going to set us up in the same situation here where we got a trinomial times a binomial. So you can even use the box method here. If you don't want to use FOIL, you can use box method, 2 rows, and it's a binomial times a binomial, so I only need 2 columns. X minus 1 and x plus 4. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1, negative 1x. 4 times x, positive 4x. 4 times negative 1, negative 4. Here's our like terms. So I have x squared. 4x minus 1x is 3x. Then I have minus 4. Now you could have used FOIL. That would have been fine. Again, I still think the box method is a little easier for students. Okay. So this time, I'm going to need my 3 columns. For the x squared, for the 3x, and then I've got the x plus 3. So x times x squared is x cubed. X times 3x is a positive 3x squared. X times minus 4 is minus 4x. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times 3x is 9x. And 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Combine our like terms. Let's see. 3x squared, 9x minus 4x. And here's my answer. X cubed, 3x squared plus 3x squared, 6x squared. 9x minus 4x is a positive 5x, and then a minus 12. Again, I still think the box method's a lot easier than the horizontal. Now, if you did it horizontally, you would have had it done it this way twice. Any questions? You could use the chat box or unmute your mic. We do have some back when we were multiplying out binomials and trinomials, and when we were doing factoring, we did have some special formulas, like the difference of squares was a plus b, a minus b. Now remember, we're doing this the other way. Okay, we're not finding factors, we're actually multiplying factors out. That's what we're doing here. We're multiplying factors to get a product. That's our product. These are my factors of this product. So there are some shortcut product patterns, and sometimes it's nice to remember these patterns. But if you don't, you can always do the box method, okay? You could always go back to this. Now here, in number 8, I will always give you these formulas, by the way, or you should be using these formulas on quizzes. I can't, this is from, past years where I gave the students formulas. You can have this in front of you, obviously, when you're doing quizzes. Okay, so here I have x plus the quantity x plus 2 squared, which is actually x plus 2 times x plus 2. If I look at my patterns here, here I have one. I have a y plus 4 squared. So that comes to a plus b equals a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Well, it's easier to do this if I identify what my a and b is. So my a here is x, and my b here is going to be, C is going to be this one here, the 2. So that's going to equal a squared. So my a squared here is my x squared plus 2 times a times b plus 2 times a, which is x, times b, which is 2, plus b squared, plus b squared. Then I just simplify it. X squared plus, I can multiply the 2 together to get 4, don't forget the x, and then 2 squared is 4. So if you learn how to use these shortcut formulas, things are going to be a little easier for you. Next one, number 9. My a, this time I have 3x minus 4 squared, which is this shortcut pattern. So my a is going to be this first term, 3x. My b is going to be negative 4. So I have a squared. So 3x squared minus, for these shortcut formulas, we don't have to worry about the sign. So let's just scratch that sign out. Minus 2a, which is 2 times a, which is 3x, times b, which is 4, plus b squared. Okay, when you're squaring 3x, don't forget you have to square both the 3 and the x. I get 3 squared, which is 9, x squared, minus 2 times 3 times 4, see, 6 times 4 is 24, x, and then 4 squared is 16. And then we have some cube formulas. These you're really going to want to use these instead of, multiplying this box, because this gets huge and messy. So try to use these formulas for multiplying the factors of a cube. All right, let's identify our A and B. My A is first term 2x. My B is, now this one I'm going to use -5. In fact, this will probably come out the same too, even if you use, oh wait, let me check. No, I don't think it's going to matter. My B is 5. The sign still doesn't matter. And we're going to plug it into our formula here. So I have A minus B cubed. So I have A cubed, and my 2x cubed, minus 3 times A squared, so 2x squared, times B, which is 5, plus 3 times A, which is 2x, times B squared, which is 5 squared, and then minus B cubed. Now all you have to do is simplify this. Don't forget, distribute that 3 to each one of the numbers. Same with any squared inside parentheses. Yeah, we're good there. So I have 2 cubed, which is 8, x cubed, minus, let's see, 2 squared, x squared, 3. So 2 squared is 4. 4 times 3 is 12, x squared. Oh, I got to multiply it by the 5. That's okay. We'll come back and finish it. 3 times 2, 5 squared is 25. So 5 times 25 is 125. X minus 5 cubed is 125. Now I'm going to go back. I need to multiply the 5 and the 12. So I have 8x cubed minus 60x squared plus 125x minus 125. Okay. Number 11. Last one, guys. You're trying to raise money for your trip to Spain, and you decide to sell cookies. The revenue from selling X cookies is given by the equation revenue R of X equals 2.5X. The cost for making X cookies is given by the equation cost of X, C of X equals X plus 32. What are we selling each cookie for? Well, we're looking at the revenue, 250X. So we're getting $2.50 for each cookie. Write a profit. Now remember what profit is. Profit is going to equal our revenue, the money we take in, minus our cost. So my profit is going to equal my revenue, which is 250X, minus my cost. Now be careful. I don't know how many times students have made this mistake where they don't put parentheses around their cost. Because what happens if you don't put parentheses around there, you don't distribute that minus sign. Okay. So what we have to do is simplify this. Our profit equals 2.5x, distribute the minus sign, minus x, minus 32. Combine our like terms, and we get 2.5x minus 1x is 1.5x minus 32. There's our profit function. And then they want to know if we're selling 381 cookies. Well, that's our x. So all we have to do for that one is put in 381 for x. 1.5 times 381 minus 32, and I think I'm going to use a calculator for this. 1.5 times 381 minus 32. So our profit is going to be 539.50. Okay. That's it for the notes. Again, I will post the practice worksheet on Google Classroom. If you don't have the practice packet, you're going to have to print it out. And then I'll create an assignment. This is the practice worksheet. I'm going to create an assignment on Google Classwork where you can just take a picture of your work, plug, submit it on Google Classroom, and then I'll just add your name to the quiz, and then you'll have like 40. Well, you know what? I'll let you do the quiz until Friday. Any questions? And we'll do it like this every day. That way I can keep an eye on it, see how if the whole class is kind of like falling behind or where you're at. Make sense? Any questions? Guys ready to go? All right. There's no questions, or if you have questions after the meeting, I'll hang around for a little bit, okay? Otherwise, you're good to go. Work on the work.